thank you very much for joining us here for this very special conversation that we intend to have on the GST big picture. I didn't think at the start of 2017 that practically every weekend would be spent in office tracking what was happening at the GST Council meetings, but that's exactly what we've been doing at CNBC-TV18. And it is our understanding that this is now the final lap. There is a GST Council meeting that will take place tomorrow, and hopefully a lot of the loose ends will get tied up in order for the government to take the bills to Parliament and clear the legislation in the budget session itself. I can see that there is a lot of enthusiasm here, and there's lots of questions that are coming in, so I'm going to keep this brief. I'm going to make this as interactive as possible, so please feel free to raise your hands and jump in with questions and clarifications that you would like here from Mr. Shah as well as Mr. Gupta. So let me get started. Sir, there's a crucial meeting with GST Council tomorrow. The last meeting of the GST Council, you had cleared two very crucial pieces of legislation. Is all the legal vetting done, and what can we realistically expect tomorrow?
We are hoping that the CGST and the IGST laws, as approved by the Council, and after which we had to do some minor tweaking, will get their approval. The SGST, which is the mirror image of the CGST, will also get its approval tomorrow. And hopefully the UTGST, which relates to the implementation of GST in union territories without a legislature, will also get its approval tomorrow. So yes, we are optimistic that tomorrow's meeting will see these drafts get the seal of approval from the GST Council.
On course to meet the budget session of Parliament till the 9th of April is what you have. Sir, you believe that everything is in order to be able to move the legislation in the budget session itself?
Yes, indeed, ma'am. We are hoping that all this will be taking us to the budget session when we will have these four enactments passed by the Parliament. That's our belief as of now. And
1st of July?
Yes, indeed. 1st of July is very much on the cards.
On the cards, or is it a done deal now that 1st of July is the rollout timeline?
Look, that is how we are working. That's the goal we have in mind, and as things stand, it should be achievable.
It should be achievable. I'll just take you back to a couple of the conversations that I was having with state finance ministers, whether it was the state finance minister of Jammu and Kashmir or the finance minister of Assam or Kerala. The feeling is that yes, you may be able to achieve July 1, but given the fact that there are a lot of pending issues that continue to be unresolved, there are a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up, it might be more practical, it might make more sense to actually look at the 1st of September as the rollout timeline and not the 1st of July. What would your comments be?
Perfect, as they say, is the enemy of the good. We do realize that there are challenges in the way in which we are moving forward, but as things stand, 1st July is what we are aiming for, and 1st July should be what we will be looking at for rolling out the GST.
Okay, what are the key challenges that you're willing to put down on the table here? I know that a lot of people here in this room and on this panel have a long list of challenges that they foresee we will run into, but what are the key challenges that you see?
No, I'd much rather hear the challenges from them and try to answer those queries and concerns.
Okay, let me then get started with that. And Mr. Lakshmi Kumar, let me ask you, sir, you just heard the CBEC chief saying that 1st of July is achievable, and that is the date that they're going with. They're hopeful to pass the legislation in the budget session itself, though we would like to know when you're planning to make the legislation public, sir. The last council meeting, you did say that, or the finance minister did say that the laws would be made available to the public. When do we expect that?
That's the decision that the council will take after tomorrow's meeting. And most certainly, when the bills are presented to the Parliament, definitely it will be in the public domain. But as things stand, that will be a decision tomorrow the council will take.
Sir, I remember going back all the way to January, and the finance ministry said that, a committee of secretaries has been set up. We will give you clarification as far as the rate is concerned. Now it's just a matter of time when we will arrive at what falls under which bucket and so on and so forth. We're now talking about, middle of March, sir. There is still no clarity as far as the rate structure.
We'll get the laws out of the way first. and then work on the rates. There's a committee of officers from the states and the center which is looking at these rates, and obviously it is one of the biggest challenges, as Mr. Lakshmikumaran had mentioned, and a matter of deep concern for the industry. But it is something which, once the law is out of the way, we will be focusing on and hopefully get
So what
it
is
in
the
the public
realistic
domain.
timeline by when we can expect clarity as far as the rates?
Sorry, I would not like to speculate because you will again tell me that this is something which you are told in March and has still not come. So we will work on that. We are working on that. It is very, very challenging, I must tell you that. What are you looking at the rates?
But before the 9th of April, sir? I'm the worst case scenario, 9th of April, the budget session ends. So even if the legislation were to go through on the very last day itself, can we expect clarity on rates before the budget session concludes?
I don't know. I would not like to hazard a guess at this point.
What is the problem exactly?
There is no problem. It's just that it is a lot of work. It's just that we are busy with the law right now. We clear the law. The rates involve, as you're aware, the VAT rates across the states, the central excise rates, exemptions which are there, area-based exemptions which are there, factoring every one of these and arriving at a rate which will be agreeable to the council at large. So it is challenging, ma'am, let me assure you.
No, I'm not trying to at all suggest that it's not challenging or complex. A lot of people in this room and industry that we've been speaking to are waiting to hear from the government on rates because that's how they will be able to actually then plan for the future. So that's the only issue.
Yeah.
But if I could ask you, is there by and large convergence on most issues, specifically on what you do with certain exemptions and so on and so forth? Is there convergence on the issue, at least within the Committee of Secretaries?
No. There is a committee of officers, not of secretaries. Largely, we'll all agree that exemptions have to be minimal in the GST regime. Having said that, we have commitments where the government has given, for instance, the area-based exemptions itself, where the timelines have been fixed. So the government will have to take calls on those, whether we continue, we grandfather them like we call them, till and phase them out slowly, or support them through the budgetary routes. These are again issues involving the states and the center. The states obviously will have a major role to play in this decision-making process. So the consensus is there to the extent that we have given you the slabs which are there in the public domain. There is a general agreement again that the closest slab will try and fit in all the commodities, but final calls will be taken by the council, which is the body which will approve the rates as suggested by the officers.
Okay. Can I then just follow up on the rate issue and ask you a specific question on the enabling provision to cap the rate at 40%? Is there also the provision to cap compensation, and will that be an issue that will be taken up at the GST Council meeting tomorrow?
There is a GST...
the cess.
There is a compensation law which is also to be firmed up tomorrow. Let's wait for the council's
So will there
meeting.
be a cap on the cess?
I would say let's just wait for the council's meeting tomorrow to know about those aspects.
Okay. I'm trying my very best to try and get you to give us a heads up of what we can expect. Sir, I asked Mr. Lakshmikumar what the key challenges are. What are the key clarifications that you would like at this point in time from the government as we approach the GST rollout timeline?
Another important aspect is how will it really operate? You know, the states and center having the same tariff to interpret, will there be a possibility that they can take different views, or will there be some mechanism to ensure that there is uniformity in taxation across states? Because today we are having those problems across the states. Same product being taxed differently because of different interpretations. So we hope that the same problem won't arise in GST.
Would you like to respond to that, sir?
I hope not. The law being the same should lend itself to multiple interpretations, I agree. But we hope that this will not happen too much.
I wish no state finance minister is here to listen what I am saying.
It's being broadcast on CNBC-TV18, so I assure you they all watch us.
Now, basically, if you look at the section 11 of the existing GST law, which says that the center and the state can issue exemption notification on the recommendation of the GST Council. Therefore, issue of a notification is conditioned upon the fact that there is a recommendation. Therefore, you can't issue a notification without recommendation. But it does not say that I must accept the recommendation, and if I decide not to issue a notification, they are not constitutionally not incorrect.
What if a state decides to go rogue, Mr. Shah?
I hope not. I seriously hope
But
not.
what about the possibility? I mean, it could be a real one. I mean, I know that most states are now under the BJP, so the possibility of rogue states is diminishing by the day. But, you know, what if somebody actually decides not to?
Ultimately, it will impact the state. It will impact the state. It will impact the movement of the goods in and to and fro from the state. So I don't think this will happen.
But that's hope, right? What about the law?
No. The law can only say the recommendations of the council. But again, Mr. Lakshmi Kumar is a lawyer, and I'm sure he'll not use these provisions to at some later stage.
I can assure you one thing: if a state government does not implement the recommendation, and if the litigation, I will not represent them. That I can assure.
So I seriously hope it doesn't happen, because those are things which will impact the state ultimately, which decides not to implement the recommendations of the council.